Home Alone face.
Hello, party people, and welcome to the finale of Severance Season 2. This is our last episode covering this show. I don't think I'm going to do it on this channel next year because
Fair.
no one came. I mean, everyone came. Everyone's in the
Came?
comments all the time.
A lot of
Like,
people came looking for her opinion on Sailor Moon.
mm-hmm.
There's
And
a
they
lot.
found us talking about Severance, and all of my numbers are down. So
Your
I need a new
videos,
channel.
your video views are up though. Maybe not the lives, but the video views.
Oh no, girl, no. I usually get like 5K per video. They're all down.
Well,
Not bad.
but I
for
do appreciate the 3 people joining us today and my guests Melissa Byrne and
yeah,
Andres, who have been so steadfast in coming every week to talk to you guys about Severance, which in my personal opinion is probably one of the best TV shows I've experienced week to week. I'm not talking about Game of Thrones anymore. I'm letting it go. Severance is in. We're going to be super excited for season 3, and hopefully it doesn't take 3 years. So before we dive into the episode and start recapping everything, we're going to start with our how many severed chips out of 5 for this episode.
there you
Who
go.
wants to go first?
For the final episode. Oh, that's really hard. I don't know what to rate this. Andres, go.
It's hard.
I'm gonna go with a 5, but it's okay. I know everybody's gonna have like something to pick at, so it's a 4.9, but I'm rounding up to 5 because ultimately I do think it was one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. But
Whoa.
no,
I've
High
never seen
praise.
it.
I mean it's up there.
Go.
Melissa. I think you and I might be seeing eye to eye here without discussing
No.
it.
Well, because I'm struggling between like 2 numbers right now.
Say the 2 numbers, and then maybe by the end of the discussion, you will have a more concrete opinion.
Perhaps. I was because it's I don't know. I was thinking between like a 3 and a 4. Because I feel like it got stuff that I wanted to see, but then it's like I still feel unsatisfied in certain aspects of this. And I don't know if I want to wait 3 years just
Well,
to
it's not
be
it's
like
not gonna be 3
I don't
years.
think it'll be 3
I
years.
read the comments saying, yeah, we're not going to do 3 years anymore, but it's like I don't believe anybody. I take things with a grain of salt.
I mean, I guess something could always happen. This was only 3 years because of all the strikes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I'm also between a 3 and a 4. I feel very strange. I've been giving this entire season very, very high praise, and everything makes sense. It's not a problem with the writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem with threads being dropped. And we'll get to it when we get into the episode. But I am kind of between a 3 and a 4. I thought it was excellent. It was a great, like, it ended for me on a high point, like a very emotional
Yeah.
high point, but it didn't really make up for. It felt incomplete, like it was half of an episode, even though it was extra long, because like we had set up in the penultimate episode, and then we had this episode, but I still felt a little weird. But I guess we'll just dive in. So where do we find ourselves? So the last episode ended with a cliffhanger. Mark is an innie and he's meeting with Miss Cobell. What's she going to tell him? Well, she's going to tell him something that I think we kind of figured out maybe a couple episodes ago, that they are refining Gemma's tempers. We know it's Gemma's chip. We know it's her tempers. Cool. Go talk to yourself on a cell phone. I mean, on a video recorder.
Recorder, yeah.
And that was a really fun scene. I thought that was really interesting, but holy crap. Audi Mark sucks at negotiation. That I'm very upset with how that went. But it's not an issue with bad writing. I think I'm just emotionally a little salty about it. What do you
I
guys
think we
think about
all
that?
kind of like expected them to get along because there is kind of like a view of like, okay, Helly and Helena are in like a natural conflict because Helly is like, it's hell on the severed floor, and Helena is an Egan. But we thought Mark and Mark S were more, would see more eye to eye. That being said, I thought their conversation made a lot of sense. And as it developed, I was like, oh my God, of course. Especially with like the journey that Mark's Innie has been on this season in particular. So they did a great job of setting up, and it was amazing. Like, I was watching that. I wasn't really necessarily expecting it. And then I definitely wasn't expecting where it went with like the level of conflict between the two. But I don't know if it is like, I don't know if it's like necessarily bad negotiation on Audi Mark's part. He definitely should have known Helena's real name. Called her
Oh,
Helene,
Hell, oh
you
yeah.
know, and
especially after she did that to him with Gemma, calling her
she did that
Hannah.
to him, and he should know how much of a sore subject that is for him.
It's like he didn't think too much about it. He just showed up and was like, and then we'll take down Lumen and you'll die, I guess. Like, no, no, no,
He
no,
doesn't
no.
know that much about his Innie, and
Yeah.
I think his Innie even says that in their conversation is like, did you even bother to ask questions about me and yada yada yada.
It's
So,
true.
yeah.
He just took it for
And-
granted that like it is a version of him, so it should just kind of agree with whatever he wants.
There's one thing that bothered me a lot, and it was no mention of Petey. I've been waiting all season 2 for something about Petey to come back, for maybe Cobell to say like, why was Petey fired in the first place? All this
Sure.
mystery. I'm still wondering, because Petey had a map. I don't even understand it. I was looking at a screen cap of it today, and a season later, I don't understand. And I know that Petey told Audi Mark we were best friends. So like,
Oh yeah, they
I
were best
thought
friends.
they were.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
so I know that Audi knows that. Audi Mark knows that. So
Mhm.
I'm frustrated that he didn't bring it up, because like he could have brought it up and not told any Mark that PD is dead because of reintegration. Or he could have and told him how high the stakes are. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if any Mark is worried about dying, right? About Lumen going away, maybe that could have been another avenue, like talking about reintegration as a danger, as you might die anyway because of what I'm doing. But it didn't come up. It's not the way I would have handled it. And again, this is not necessarily bad writing. It's just something that I, as a fan, desired. I wanted to talk about PD.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of things that I mean, first of all, I feel like I saw like 99% approval for the episode, but when I did see people frustrated, it wasn't necessarily with something falling through or not making sense. Even though I think like we'll get to some of the stuff that's actually going on at Lumen and if it really like lives up to the hype and stuff. But in terms of character work, I think everything was really tight. The writing made a lot of sense, and the way things developed was pitch perfect.
Yeah, this show has really excellent writing. Excellent writing, excellent everything. They gave us some fan, things that fans would love. Like, we know what the goats are for. Milkshake did a little dance. Like, I love it. I was eating all of it up, but I felt immensely frustrated right from the bat when Mark sucked at negotiating with Mark. But at the same time, that's great writing, because I should have said this at the beginning, but spoilers for the finale of Severance, but I feel like I have to say it, but it's implied. That was good setup for the very last scene. It makes sense why Innie Mark made the choice that he did.
Yeah.
But I'm frustrated. I think Mark's an idiot.
Should we wait till the end to like really talk about that ending scene, because I think it was kind of iconic, but I want to like save it for later.
I think so. I think it's also probably emotionally wrapped up in a lot of our own thoughts about what happened. This episode, like, there's high points. Didn't start with a high point. Cobell was like, "Oh, I'll go to a completely different room while you completely fuck this up." Like, why couldn't Devin be in the corner? Why couldn't Cobell be over there going like, "No, don't say that." Like, Cobell especially, she knows Innie Mark. Okay, now my score's going back down to a 3, because that should have happened.
Well,
That's
so
frustrating.
I rewatched it. So what happens? I watched it twice actually. I watched it again this morning. So what happens is you're mixing up the order a little bit, because first they just they kind of give Innie Mark a little overview, and then they're like, somebody else wants to talk to you, and then there's a back and forth, and then the last thing that happens is he talks to Cobell, and Cobell tries to reason with him basically by telling him what's going on, and that what he's looking at is like his wife's consciousness that he's trying to create, and that once he's done with Cold Harbor, there is no more working at Lumen. So he's going
But that's
to
not my problem. My
to
problem
die
is
anyway.
Cobell should have
So
moderated. She should have been in the
Moderators
corner
were
telling Outie Mark, don't say that.
Oh, my problem with this with Cobell and Mark scenes is I feel like any Mark. Hi Gio, I know you watch the show. I had a problem with the fact that she's kind of blowing up his world right now, telling him this information about how you've been messing with your wife's brain, and there's 24 files, and all he has to say is, oh no, he said something like, but I've been working on 24 files. And then, but he doesn't ask more questions about it, because she could have further tell him these 24 files, like this is what is happening in these rooms, and this is what she's going through. She's been going through it for I don't even know how long now. Has it been years?
I mean,
I don't
most
know.
of like the four tempers, I mean, I guess hypothetically all of them from like the Lumen point of view are negative. So he knows that she's been going through like woe and whatever the other ones are. And they're all
need more
like
specifics,
negative things
though.
that he's mapping for her consciousness. So he knows it's like bad.
I needed more specifics, because I mean, in that episode, for so many people, I remember people reacting like they had huge emotional reactions to like watching that, and
Mhm.
I just felt like we didn't get a chance to see that kind of reaction from the man himself when there's a huge revelation about these files. So I felt kind of robbed of that.
For me, though, the number of files made me jump.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, 20. That means there's 24 innies. We've only seen, what, an airplane and a couple other
I
things.
felt when you said it
Well,
again.
25
I feel so
if you
bad for
count
her.
Cold Harbor.
I am fascinated in that the final test is building furniture. People want to be severed from building furniture. They just want to get home and have it made.
Hold on.
It's not literal.
Let's
It's not
pause here.
literal.
How is it not literal?
So this is
You would want to build furniture?
for
Okay, she's disassembling furniture, but it's because it was her dead baby's crib.
That's the test.
So like
so
Cold Harbor is about like forgetting your grief.
yeah, it's about it's again, everything is like it all comes back to something very like simple and obvious about what's happening at Lumen, which is that they are putting the block to the test, like the block between severed and regular reality. So
but they're doing that with all of them. This one's just highly personal.
But Gemma is like the main test. So they're making her do those things that she personally hates, like writing thank you notes, and then they're finishing it with her disassembling the same crib that Mark had to disassemble because they had the miscarriage. And so they're seeing if that brings up anything for her, and if it doesn't, then the block is working extra effectively. I always thought the block testing thing was like a little disappointing for us as an audience, because from our perspective the block works so well that like there's no doubt to it, but it does make sense ultimately, like as a pharmaceutical company that wants to mass distribute this thing, that they are putting it to like these extreme unethical testing.
There's also that moment where Helly's like, oh, what happens when they remove the chip? I want to know. I still want to know. Because
I don't remember that question.
I was thinking that perhaps her chip, because it's like custom to her, is there a way that like they've severed it so many times for so many different scenarios that that chip could be used to make the next version of the chip that like has a perfect block that can be severed in all these different scenarios? Because like, was it not stated in this episode that Lumen is trying to eliminate pain, which is something that came up in our conversation over the weeks?
It was.
And I think, I don't know how many tempers there are total, because I know there's like 4 main ones and then like extra ones. I wonder if that's 25.
So there's tempers and then there's like virtues or something like that. And there's a lot more of those than there are tempers. But yeah, the lore escapes me sometimes. But
Yeah.
hey, I do want to mention about Cold Harbor. I'm not sure if we mentioned this in one of our discussions on the stream or if you sent it to the group chat. I think Age sent like a post that somebody had discovered at one point that the crib, when Mark was disassembling it, the box said Cold Harbor. So this was foreshadowed, thankfully too, because I think I would have been a little thrown off if that didn't
Yeah.
happen.
We all thought it had something to do with the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then we
Yeah.
were right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, oh, are they gonna like create life, just like manufacture a baby at the end? But it wasn't that.
I mean,
exact.
Helen was
surprised it
probably
wasn't-
pregnant.
I mean, it was nice, like in terms of filmmaking and metaphor, to have her disassemble the crib, but I'm surprised in reality it wasn't something a little more directly tied to the miscarriage. Like, you know,
I mean, I guess it kind of is though, right? Like they're trying to make her get
but
past trauma of a miscarriage.
yeah, it is. But considering like in some rooms they actually had like a dentist doing stuff on her teeth, they could have, done something with like some kind of weird medical stuff that would have been
Like
a lot
something,
more
you mean something
intense.
personal to her?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's a good point about the block looking so good from our perspective. We're like, well, they definitely don't know what's going on. And then you have Irving.
Yeah.
Cobell was very surprised to hear that Irving remembers the hallway. So what does that mean? I don't know.
I didn't see him. I forgot who called it last week, but somebody called that probably won't see him.
Yeah, I thought there was a chance we wouldn't see him or Dylan. And we
I'm
did.
glad Dylan's back.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about Dylan? Because we did see him, and that was not sure. Because the first time we do see him, he is finding out that his Audi did not want to quit.
He is so much better at negotiating with himself than Mark is. I love his little letters saying, "I hope that my wife sees in me what she sees in you." Like, they're so cute.
I was like, it just dawned on me that Mark and Dylan are experiencing opposite things. Because now it feels like Dylan and his Audi are getting along and just gonna go ahead and like live this double life. But then like the Marks are like, fuck you.
Well, so the conflict there is obvious. I don't think it's necessarily a negotiation thing. I think it's that they are in love with the same woman and they want to both nurture that same relationship. So they can see themselves more as like two sides of the same coin, whereas Mark S and Mark's Audi are in a more direct conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, but at first, Audi Dylan was pissed off hearing about the kiss and like the cheating, but now I feel like he feels more accepting of it, which was a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just made that connection that like they're having like two opposite experiences, and this is a wild ride.
I think everybody was having like a little love story this season. Like even Irving and Bert, like
I would have never guessed that this show would be driven by love. Like when I was first watching it, it's so driven by love.
Yeah.
Because like this, I know we're not getting into it yet, but like that decision at the end, like shook up this whole thing.
There would be no season 3 if that decision wasn't made. If he went out that door and they ran away.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by it. But it's just like, wow, like this is really all about a girl.
I mean, yeah, everybody's got some kind of love story going on, which is great. And I think that's why I rated it so highly, is because the character stuff was just so good. And I feel like the themes really like came to fruition in this, where we had been talking for a little, maybe earlier towards the season, we were more like, this is about, office life and kind of being trapped in something like that. And then as it went along, we were like, no, this is very much about like consciousness and memory and what makes you and your your experiences and all of that. And this episode really brought to light that is like the main where the main conflict in the story comes from.
It's about the relationships.
It's about
the
who
way
are
that they
you?
form these relationships.
Yeah.
That they want to let go of the people that they've got to know. And
this episode really set the tone for something, I guess, that they will explore more in season 3, which is like Mark and Mark S are two separate conflicting characters, which we didn't really 100% feel that until this episode. And
And
by the
also,
way, like with the length of this, it was and the production value and everything, this felt like a movie. Can I just say that?
yeah,
Like it
it
felt
did.
like a
It
film.
did.
Yeah.
What's frustrating to me,
Especially
though, is that they are kind of now making it a very like hard line between Innie Mark and Outie Mark. I feel like the reintegration storyline got completely dropped. Why is Innie
I
Mark
am
not
so
having?
confused.
Well,
Yeah, say it.
I'm confused by reintegration because I think the way I thought about reintegration is I thought that like once you reintegrate, you're no longer severed or severed, and that you go back to your original self. But the way they discussed it in this episode, it's as if two of you are living together in one mind. So now I'm like, wait, what?
well,
No, I don't think so.
yeah, no, I
That's
think
all
your
I
original
did.
interpretation is right, but Mark, the Innie, was trying to make sense of it that way. And he was like, basically, am I at the top and you're the bottom? Am I the left or you're the right? And then Mark's Outie does clarify, like, no, we'll be like one person with the same memories and the same traumas and all of that. And the good stuff too, he says. But, and again, if people have been watching the stream from the beginning, from as we've talked about what's going on here over the course of these episodes and with reintegration, we did at one point have a conversation where we're like, what is the new reintegrated Mark going to be? And we all kind of agreed that it would be mostly Outie Mark.
Yeah,
Because
he's lived
Innie Mark
longer.
has lived so much less longer and so much less experience. And to his credit, Innie Mark realized that right away. And he was like, sounds great for you, but like my experiences will be kind of like just a little like dream that you had, almost like, if you even want to pursue this reintegration once you get your wife back, which was the main point.
We keep going back to this. Mark needed to sell it. He needed to market reintegration to our guy, and he was just like,
But there is none, because he doesn't get.
How is he gonna?
He doesn't get.
Yeah,
like,
you lie
he
to
loses
him.
his
He doesn't
life.
Just
get
lie. Just lie.
Yeah, I mean, he could have lied, but at the end of the day, like the real sticking factor was Helly and like his love story and his life on the inside. And
his love story is just as real as Gemma and Mark. That's a really great point.
mhm.
So, and Innie Dylan and Outie Dylan cheating on himself.
This is like the other issue I have with this, and I may be on an island because I see people online who are kind of like going back and forth about Mark's decision at the end, like who's right, who's wrong, like Outie or Innie. And I don't know, like I think I see it so different. Like I don't even see it as right or wrong. I just see as like any person made the decision that made the most sense to him at that point. But at the end of the day, the person who is the Outie is like the person. I don't know how else to say that. It's like they're the original person. So at the end of the day, like it's Outie's Mark's body. It's his mind. Like he deserves to have the things that he's talking about at the end of this series. Like I think that's how it's gonna go, probably.
You sound like Helena from season 1, where she goes, "I'm a person.
Oh,
you
yeah.
are not." And we were on the other
That's
side
right.
going, no.
That's right. Or you kind of also sound like Miss Huang, like who's like, treat them like what they are.
What are they?
They're wrong.
What are
I'm not saying
they?
to treat them like crap, but they're
Whoa, go on. Finish your thought.
No, I'm enjoying this. Please.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard
I
time.
agree with
No,
you,
because
though.
because now you've called me an Egan and you've called me evil. It's basically
Whoa.
called.
No.
We did call you an Egan, kind of, but
You're not a person,
Yes.
Innie.
If you called me an Egan, you're calling me evil
And a
because
Huang.
the Egans in the show are evil.
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's about evil. I think that you are making a point that the show is trying to like bring us back and forth between. Like there are two very good arguments to be made. One is that one is not physically outside, but what dictates that is this technology by Lumen. Because if Innie Mark literally he was born 2 years ago, he's been living this little life. Like what stops him from going outside and becoming the main Mark? Like I know he's not a person because he didn't exist until this technology, but when we were watching season 1, we were like, yeah, Helena, you get out of there. This is bizarre. And she was saying it's bizarre because it is bizarre. But who has the right? Just because you're older doesn't mean you have a better right to live. If we were looking at like an older and a
I
younger
kind of
person.
feel like you do because you're the original person.
I
Well,
think
yeah.
we can afford to let Melissa gather her thoughts a little more on it and think about it a little more because
I love these thoughts.
there's so much still left to talk about.
Yes, there is. Let's move
Do
on.
you guys
Mr.
want to talk about
Milkchick running out of the
Yeah, I feel like
room.
Milkchick, yeah.
I
I'm
was
very
so
small.
confused. I was like, why is he speeding away like that? Is it because of like the whole big history making moment?
It was
Okay.
the
It was-
biggest laugh for me.
I know. I loved it too, and I didn't really know where it was going. Obviously, I knew something big was going to happen with Cold Harbor, but I didn't know why he was taking off his tie, even though he is wearing a tie the next time we see him, right?
And those little white shoes. He had so many outfit changes. Like, that was excellent. Okay, so like what happens next? He runs away. Mark and Helly are talking. And that for
Mar-
me was the emotional part for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, that's good. I do want to, let's touch on that because that was a cute little conversation where she's
Oh my
talking about like
God.
more places that she can remember now.
She can't remember that
Yeah.
many, and one of them's the equator. And also, by the way, the brain is considered 2 hemispheres. Okay. You see where I'm
Interesting.
going with
Alright.
this? The equator in the
Mhm.
middle. But
Mhm.
also the moment where they're like seriously having this conversation, Helly's almost pushing him to help Outie Mark because
She
Helly's
is.
just a
Yeah.
wonderful person. She's wonderful. And
Yeah.
then when he tells her, I want to live with you here, I'm like, I feel
Yeah.
this too.
Yeah, no, it was nice. I mean, it was
It's good.
guys, it was really good
It
television.
was really good TV. I
That
can't
was
believe
very
I'm giving
good
it such a low
television.
score.
And I guess let's dive in a little more on Helly since that's where the conversation went, and it is kind of chronologically, it does make sense because
She had a little convo with Jane Egan
Jane
saying,
Egan.
I hate my daughter. I see Kier in you. Oh my God. Is
And it
Helly
was-
going to
It's an
become the
interesting
real
It was
moment.
Helly?
interesting what he said, which I didn't catch really until the rewatch, which is that he did say he used to see
Mhm.
Kier in Helly when she was in Helena when she was younger.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, like something about
When she
the
was
course
a
of
child.
the course of life really beat it out
Mhm.
of her and like I guess made her more cynical or whatever. She lost that intensity and that fire.
I don't know if it's
Um,
about cynical. Like she's a fighter, and I guess Kier must have just been a raging madman, in a good way.
Because I guess Helena is more like
Complacent.
I do
yeah,
as I'm
she just
told.
does what she's
Mhm.
told
Complacent.
exactly.
Mhm.
But then Helly is such like she's a firecracker.
Yeah.
She's trying to like she's so rebellious. And so I thought it was very creepy and he was Kier.
Yeah. It was
I
good.
like
And
it.
how
Yell
about
at me more.
I wonder
about-
if she's gonna be thinking about that comment too, like and like really kind of like check herself with her personality.
It is interesting. I also like how about just how weird Jane Egan is again. This season
so
started with an interesting
She says it. She's like God,
fetid moppets.
weird.
Oh, there's.
But
Oh wait.
I
I
also
threw a tin of
I
candies.
threw a tin of candies.
What did he say?
I was so. He said he was so upset that I threw a tin of candies.
I don't remember that.
This show makes me
yeah,
laugh so much. It's a thriller, and yet I find so much to laugh at all the
She-
time.
she calls him weird as soon as he says that.
That was so funny. She like, God,
he
you're
is.
fucking weird.
Yeah.
She's saying things that I am thinking.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
there was a part, I don't remember what happened, but me and my husband both said the same thing, and then someone in the show said what it was. I'm like,
I
this show
feel
is so
like
good.
It could have been that part. That was on the money.
Probably.
Is she my favorite character? Funny enough.
Oh,
Helena?
who are our favorite characters?
Not Helena, Helly.
Helly. Well,
Ah,
two sides of the same coin in a way.
You guys have a favorite
I
character?
love Helly. I have a favorite character. I do.
Who is it?
Who?
Mr. Milkchick.
A lot of people like Milchek.
Mhm.
He's great.
I will say, like, it's hard to like pick a favorite character, like who I like the best. I do think that Helena is like the best concept of a character in Severance. Like her existence is like so key to like what makes the show amazing because she is on one hand the biggest hero or like one of the biggest heroes and on the other hand one of the biggest villains
Yeah.
within the show.
I see
So
them as two characters.
yeah, it is two characters, but it is also the same. So like that's just the conflict of the show. So everything about that person, whoever it is, and that job that the actress is doing is like so key to what makes Severance special. So I will say Helena Helly is the best character.
We couldn't have this conversation about another show.
We share
No, exactly.
their fave characters.
It's amazing. There's been shows that do it well, like Jamie Lannister, kind of going from like you hate him to like you empathize with him and that kind of thing. But that's nowhere on this level where like she is literally the villain and the hero.
It's great.
So we kind of have the same answer. I will lean more towards Helly though, just because I feel like she is the one that kind of stands up to people and she says things that you're thinking, and she's like the rebellious one, and she's funny. She's cool. I like the little advice scene she had for Dylan in the last episode. She was like, "Give the ring to somebody down here," you know? Like, you don't care about these
There's like two people here, and the goat
friend. She's great.
Yeah, she's great.
I love her, and I'm gonna be sad when like in season. Well, I have theories about what's gonna happen in season 3, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry about it. But it has to do with this. So
Milchek?
Cold Harbor gets finished, and there's an animatronic Kier. What? Who's doing the voice of Kier?
I laughed at his jokes because they were so corny. Like they were wordplay and stuff.
He did not need to say.
Good thing you didn't write the appendix, or it would have burst. Kier, like the animatronic Kier, was like making fun of how wordy Milchek is. And
it was a personal jab.
Good thing you didn't write the first appendix. It would have burst.
Poor Milchek. I love that Milchek seemed to go off script for a second and tell him what it was, but I want to know who's doing the voice. Like behind, like in the show. Oh yeah, there was clapping on the speakers, but like for me, it's not a robot, right? There has to be someone behind the scenes with a little microphone reacting to Milkshake going off script. Who is that?
I was a little thrown off by that, but you know what? As I rewatched it, by the way, I looked at a scene and I was like, this is perfect for like how like the type of attitude I should take into watching this show, but probably many shows. When the marching band is done, they have like those cards that like say 100% with a picture of Mark's face, and those are just like in the reality of the show, if you want to be picky, those are pointing just towards the ceiling.
Yes,
nobody can see those except for us, the audience.
It was very anime.
Yeah, I was just very like, okay, let me enjoy the ride. Let me not like question too much of like these little things, like who's is the Kier talking? Like, is there a voice? Is there a crowd somewhere? Like, let me just realize that like Ben Stiller is making this show 100% for the audience, and let me just enjoy it. Or else I would be like, why are they pointing these cards up at the ceiling? You know, like
you guys need to watch more anime. This is such a thing. There is I'm looking at a figurine of one of my favorite shows called Revolutionary Girl Utena, and half of the things in the show do not actually happen in reality. They only happen for the audience. It's one of my favorite things. It's so stylistic. It's art. And that's why I think Severance is a little above everything else for me, because it's artful. It makes you ask these big questions, but also you just go for the ride. Like I still don't know where the largest waterfall in the world is. I still don't know. But I'm okay with it because the plot is going along. Important things are happening, except no one mentioned Petey, and I'm still mad about it.
Yeah, you love Petey.
I love Petey.
Shoulders. Milkshake can like speak.
I was gonna say Milchek's dancing is gonna be a meme for a while.
Yes, it will.
Oh, yeah.
He was fun.
And then we're introduced to the merriment and something department, right? Isn't that who they are?
Cheer and merriment, I think.
Cheer and merriment.
Something like that.
Oh,
those guys
we're not mentioning that like there's about to be a any uprising because like Dylan speaks to the Merriment department and they're all looking
Rise up.
Yeah. So then it's season 3.
How about that again though? Dylan versus Milchek again in a season finale, just holding him off. I love that.
I love that he came in right at the last minute. It was just such a like action move. Like I love it.
That
Yeah,
was great.
it was cool.
He didn't leave. He decided to stay at the job.
The vending machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. The action in this was dope. And
it caught me off guard how bloody and violent it got.
Yeah, so maybe we can talk about that hallway scene. If we want to talk about the goats first, we can do that. But the hallway scene was epic. Yeah.
We found out what the goats are for, and the answer is simple. It's sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
But okay.
I want to say like it doesn't really bother me because I've become so invested in like the character stuff. But every time we find out an answer, it's actually kind of like sort of simple. Like, what are we testing with Gemma? The barrier of the Severance chip. That makes sense. Simple. What are they doing with the goats? Animal sacrifice, because we've made it very clear they're a cult. So okay, that's fine. Like it's not like mind blowing, but I'm also not like offended.
Nothing is mind blowing so far.
Yeah.
I love Gwendolyn Christie. I'm so glad she came back in her beautiful little outfit. I wish I had that dress.
Funny.
He is so protective over those goats. She doesn't like the senseless killing.
Think about it. She doesn't know anything else. She just raises goats. She doesn't get to leave. She's an innie.
Yeah.
And does it have verve?
I already saw a meme. I already saw a meme that was like Gwendolyn Christie with the goat, and then it was like what me with like the paragraph my editor tells me to get rid of.
I saw a lot of memes about.
I haven't seen the memes yet. I don't know how.
I saw a lot of memes.
I haven't. There's 2 subreddits for this.
Oh, Reddit. Because I've seen a lot of talk on Severance on Threads though. People are like going crazy.
You don't get it on Instagram? All I get is reels about Severance.
No, I guess I'm not. I guess because I don't consume Severance content on that platform.
Yeah, I've seen some great stuff. A lot of it about Milkchick and the band. Like one of them was
people love Milkchick.
Milkchick had to remind Lumen that he's black. Like, I get it. Fine. I love it though. You know, he was a band kid in real life. Like he was I think they call him the major.
He was very
the drum
natural.
major.
Mm-hmm.
Drum majors.
Do you know what school?
I do not know what school, but I know that people on Reddit saw the picture of it and went, "Oh my god, I went to school with Milkchick," and I didn't realize it.
That's funny.
Yeah. The memes are great.
I just wanted to point out the arms on Trammell. I forgot his last name. He's got some nice arms.
That man's career is about to explode. Like, great character for him, but also everyone in the show has been excellent. I don't think there's any actor that I would single out and say they didn't do a good job. They're either extremely well directed or extremely well chosen.
How about that fight scene in the hallway, though?
So violent.
I love
this man
seeing
just
Mark
had brain
getting thrown
surgery,
around.
and they're smacking his head into the wall. By the way, the shot of Mark getting his head hit into the wall
was real.
They had shot that about 4 times. I listened to the official podcast. They had shot that about 4 times, and the choreography was Mark supposed to hold his arm somewhere behind his head, so like it sells that he gets his head hit, but he doesn't actually. He did hit his head on accident in one of the shots, and that's the one that makes it in the episode. When he's smashed into the wall, he is actually smashed into the wall. I got upset, though, because the man just had brain surgery. Did we not what is this?
Oh. Yeah, I heard the clip of them talking about that, and I loved it. That's such a fun thing about like making a movie. Like something happens like that, like accidentally, and then you get it on film and you get to use it.
My favorite part was Drummond really accidentally dying because changing in the
wonderful bit.
Wonderful bit. Gun was like, oh,
I laughed. I laughed hard.
Same. I was pleased
so
in my head I was like, I will just squeeze it, and then he did.
That elevator is just amazing. Like, to think of Audi Mark waking up and just
Oh
killing a
God.
man is
Mhm.
really, really fun. And then how about um the way he uses the gun with like that lady that works down on that other floor?
She didn't even care. She
They were
did
just
not
yelling
care.
at each other.
Yes.
Ah, ah. I've seen that clip shared over and over again too.
He just
People love
lets her
that.
go and like doesn't shoot.
I mean, it was
No.
it was it was like a one bullet
Yeah, it
situation.
was like one of those No
Oh,
Country for Old Men, like
was it?
sacrifice guns.
Oh, I thought
Um,
it was really smart of him when he's trying to get inside the room and he can't, but he gets the blood from the freaking tie. And I was like, that is so clever.
I
that was
love that
good. And
too.
how about that for
So
like
good.
just the puzzle of like great writing where like
Mhm.
everything that happened up until like him taking Drummond into the elevator with like the
Mhm.
gun to his
I was
throat,
stressed.
that makes so much sense. And then him squeezing when he turns into Audi Mark and all that blood, everything is like happening as it should and making so much sense. And yet it comes back to be like really important for how he gets into Cold Harbor. So like it's
Yes.
not like just some crappy like
There's
Deus
a
Ex Machina
reason.
or whatever. Like
Hmm.
There's a reason why these
yeah,
things
yeah.
happen. Hmm.
The
Yeah.
puzzle
That's
It all
fits
fits
one of
perfectly.
my
together.
favorite scenes when it's like he has like the light bulb. He's like, oh, the
Yeah,
tie has this guy's blood.
yeah. And how about, I mean, what do you guys think of the barrier? Because it does feel like once he gets in there, there is some
Mm.
unconscious thing where Gemma knows to trust him
That
more
was so
so than
beautiful.
you
I
like that, right? That
think
was good.
That was
I think about
beautiful.
Irv and Bert a lot when
Yeah,
I think about that.
yeah.
Oh,
That's a good
Because
point.
like
oh
as
yeah.
much as
I guess
the barrier, yeah,
because the Audi bird was kind of just like drawn to him, right?
he was, and
They were
Irv
drawn to each other, yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
So
Um,
as much as we think the barrier's great, we have already seen that there
Mhm.
is some kind of connect. Even the scene of like Mark and Gemma
love,
in the hallway that one
Oh
time,
my
like
God, it's love.
love breaks the barrier.
That was a
It
beautiful scene.
finds
'Cause
its
it's like
way.
this is the first time they seen each other in the first time in like 2 years,
Yeah,
he
and
thought
then
she was dead.
I feel like I felt Adam Scott's desperation in that scene because he's like, "Oh my God, like come with me, come with me." But in my head, like my logical self, I'm like, "Why would she go with you? You're covered in blood, looking like a murderer."
yeah,
But I still loved the fact that like there's a close up of like their hands touching, especially when that guy above was like, "Don't let him touch you, don't touch him," and then
yeah.
they touch, and then she feels safe and good, and so she just knows, no, let me go with him, and then she does, and he
And I
looks,
love that you brought that up. That room, that was her innie in Cold Harbor's first time being alive, right? So like we've seen like
yeah.
Helly be alive for the first time. When Gemma goes into that room, she doesn't ask, "Where am I? What's going on?" Like it was a very passive
Mhm.
innie version of Gemma that we haven't seen before. Like I think that's what the effect of Cold Harbor is. I don't know
Yeah.
about strengthening the uh what's it, the block.
Yeah.
For me, I think what they've I don't know why it's doing this. I think it's about taking their personality away more so than strengthening the block.
Yeah,
Because
because
she
she
went in
didn't
there, she
know
was
who
like,
she was. He
right. She didn't
asked, "Who
ask.
are
She
you?" I
just
don't know. So is it also like creating a blank consciousness?
that's what I
Well,
think. I think
I'm
it's killing her
interested in.
memories.
I guess
Mm.
they'll get more into it in season 3, and I again I've become so into the character stuff that I don't need them to go like so
Deep with
crazy
the
with
sci-fi.
the Lumen stuff. But I did find it interesting that like he has to finish helping create the consciousness, and then she goes into that room to test. Like so that I was like, oh okay, so it works that way. I thought he was like finding her emotions as she's in the
Hmm.
room. Like
Feeling
that
them.
would
He's
kind of make
creating,
sense.
and it
But
has
he
to do
has to
with
create it before
emotions.
it's prepared for her to enter.
It has to do with
I
like,
don't think it's creating. I think he's cutting it out.
hmm.
Cutting it out. Well,
I
I
know
mean, I
that
guess
like,
there's a few ways
For
to
the
take
Cold
it, but
Harbor room.
I took it as like he has
yeah.
to complete the consciousness file and then she goes in. So
Hmm.
yeah.
It's like the
Um
way Cobell said it was like it's building blocks. You're building the innie.
Yeah.
But for me, to build the innie, you have to take out her worst memory, which is her baby, right? Losing her baby.
Yeah. Again, I am almost like just detached from that part of it, but we'll find out more, I'm sure, in season 3 about like what they're actually really
I would
doing.
love to find out more because I do want to know because they've made it such a large part of the show.
I
So,
know. And that's why ultimately I was like, I give it a 4.9 because like
mhm.
the creating consciousness stuff and, like
Not really explained.
it's still very vague and like we
Yeah.
didn't get like some shocking discovery. Like we never really do when we find
Mhm.
out more about Lumen. It
Nope.
makes sense,
Mhm.
but it's not like a big like aha
Yeah.
moment. So that stuff is fine, but like again, just seeing Mark and Gemma, like the real Mark and the real Gemma
I love that
reunited
scene so
was really
much.
great.
I can't get over it. Okay. This is
Yeah.
my first time really seeing Adam Scott acting. I didn't watch anything else he was in. But like the emotions on his face in that scene when he enters the room and he sees her, I was like,
This is
I,
definitely like his
I
his
believe
first big like serious role. I mean, he's mostly a comedy actor, which like is still acting and stuff, and
you.
he's been great in comedies for the
Hmm.
longest time. But
You should watch Parks and Rec, Melissa. He
Yeah,
is wonderful in it.
never seen it.
yeah,
I
Very
um,
funny.
both.
yeah, I saw some like post where somebody was like, Adam Scott is going to be like in the Mount Rushmore of like perfect casting with like Bryan
Good. It
Cranston
was
and
really great.
Gandolfini, like TV acting,
They
like
made
TV
me
roles.
feel. They made me feel all the feels in that one simple scene of like looking at each other and holding, like getting out the room
Yeah,
together. I was like, wow.
It was the
I think.
expressions. It was
Yeah,
beautiful. It was
Oh,
so good. Like for him, it's like, oh my God, she
my
is
God,
alive.
she's
Holy
alive.
shit.
Please come
yeah,
with
I need
me.
to save her. Like I'm in the process of saving her. I need to actually save her.
Mhm.
yeah.
And then they have their big smooch. And then
Yeah,
there's that weird moment where Miss
weird
Casey and
moment.
Annie Mark.
They turn it. So I mean,
Oh,
I think this episode, like again, another reason that Adam Scott is getting so much love is because of the conflict between Innie and Outie Mark. Like you really realize he's playing two characters very convincingly,
Mhm.
and that elevator scene is another great moment where it goes from like the most like passionate, like euphoric, like cathartic moment until like he's kissing his therapist.
Weird.
ugh. Ah,
What are we doing here right now?
I feel so
Yeah,
bad for Miss Casey. I feel
yeah.
bad for Gemma. She's
She's
been
the
tortured for
most
years.
tortured soul in this freaking show.
Yeah.
She's another
Poor
one
Miss
that talks
Casey.
kind of like funny, like in a Lumen way, because she
Yeah.
doesn't go like, "What's going on?" She says, "What is taking place?"
I love her. I want good things
Yeah,
for her
I do
only.
too.
Mark S. What is taking place?
Anyway, let's go. Bye. And then now we're getting to the meat and
Yeah,
potatoes. The
yeah.
moment.
This is the episode right here.
Oh my God. So Gemma's outside the door. And
Mhm.
remember, they lied to her and said Mark got married and had a baby with someone else. She doesn't
That's
even know
right.
he's severed. She doesn't even know that she's looking at an innie. She thinks she's watching her husband go off with another woman. But I get it. I know why
I
he
did
made the
keep seeing that
decision.
comment on Twitter
Well,
that
What?
she
it,
thinks,
it's okay. So I've seen some people say that, and I guess
yeah,
within the show, it's not very clear, but I've heard the
yeah.
actress talk about the moment.
Hmm.
And from her perspective, Gemma does know that that is a different Mark, that
That
that's a
makes me feel
severed
Why?
Mark.
better.
I don't know. I mean, I guess just context clues. Like that's the only way you possibly could know. Because
But it would also
outside of
make
that, she's
sense if he had
completely out
another
of the loop.
wife.
That
It would
is
totally
true
make sense.
too, because she
I,
knows that lie that he has another woman and a baby.
you can look it up. It's the actress that said it. I was kind of surprised
She
that
doesn't know anything. She's
I was
wonderful and I love
surprised.
her, but she doesn't know anything.
I I mean, they could still write it however they want,
Hmm.
but I guess the way she was performing it was
Oh,
that she
okay.
knew.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was
Mm.
surprised to see her flat out say it
Yeah,
because that seems like something
like a
we as the
mystery.
audience shouldn't really know.
Hmm.
But anyway, that's one part of the puzzle. What really happens here is like the decision, which I've heard Ben Stiller say and a few of the cast members say that the original plan was to leave it on a cliffhanger.
Oof. Please no.
I'm
Oh,
glad.
I'm so glad
I'm
they didn't do
glad they
that.
didn't do
No,
that.
they said like You know,
Oof.
I mean, obviously everybody loves the season 1 finale, which I did look on IMDb. The season, I mean, it's basically the same score, but
Mhm.
season 1 finale does have a 9.7, and this one has a 9.6.
Mm.
So still kind of like,
About the same.
yeah, but 0.1. People do prefer the season 1 finale ending on
Uh-huh.
that cliffhanger, but they didn't want to end it on
Mhm.
another cliffhanger. And I
Right.
think
Right.
I think they made the best decision ever. I think that moment, everything leading up to it, obviously, but that moment and the filmmaking in that moment are what makes this one of the best episodes of TV
It
ever, as I said at the
looked
beginning.
beautiful. The
Hmm.
ending looked very cinematic. I'm like, am I
Yeah.
watching this on my
It was on
TV right
film, I
now?
think.
The last
Mhm.
shot, the one that freezes, was on film. And the
And there was
red.
another part
The red
in
looked
yeah, the first time
beautiful.
we saw red. But
No.
there's another part in this season that was shot on film, and it's all the episodes about Gemma and the
Yes.
flashbacks. So,
I
like, I
remember
think that in filmmaking language, making this last scene on film as much as the
Mhm.
Gemma episode was that to, in filmmaking language, explain
Yeah.
that Mark's love for Helly is
Just
just
as
as
strong.
real as
Yeah.
Audi Mark's love for his wife Gemma.
Great
Which
catch.
is it's great. It's good stuff.
it's
But
a love box. Not a triangle, but a love
And
box.
let's jump into it a little deeper, knowing that like Marquez knows that he's going to like die, die
Mhm.
regardless. Helly already like backed up Miss Cobell's argument by being like, I'm
I'm
Helena
Helena.
Egan, go do what you
Mhm.
got to do. Like everything is like working against him making this decision. There's really no plan to it either. Like where do
Mm-mm.
we as the
Where are you
audience
gonna go?
think they're going to go
To your desk?
besides maybe get a few more minutes with each other, but
Yeah.
everything's working against it except like the pure like love aspect of it, and that's what makes it so great. Besides just the
I
filmmaking, the music and the colors
Yeah.
and the film
Mhm.
and all of that, and the fact that also it's a complete reversal of where we started the season. We start with Mark running through the hallways trying to like figure out his Audi's mystery for his Audi, like hectic, and then we end with Mark running through the halls with Helly kind of
For
taking
himself.
ownership of his own story, which
Mhm.
is it's so freaking good.
But
It's
I
so
think,
good.
like, if someone had the choice to die or have a few more moments with their lover, not knowing what would happen, they would take it. Which is kind of why I totally understand his whole choice, but, like, that whole scene, I kept thinking about what, the doctor said. I'm calling him the doctor, the dentist, the strange man.
Mhm.
He when they're running, he goes, "You'll kill them all."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought the red hallway was like, are they gonna gas the whole building and literally kill the staff?
I
No,
interpreted the kill them all as, well, now that
The
Gemma has
innies.
escaped, she's going to probably, in their mind, tell the world that she was kidnapped by Lumen, and now like Lumen will be ruined in this way. Like they might be shut down because of that. That's one interpretation that I had.
yeah, I was thinking the only two interpretations I could come up with is either like the 25 consciousnesses that he had been working on with Gemma are just like in the trash now, but it seems like
She
they were
would have
planning
been
to kill
gone
her
anyway.
anyway, so I don't know if
Yeah.
that's it. But the other one is like the whole Severance experience is going to be jeopardized by this, which means all of the innies
Are gonna die.
are done for. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But also
So,
check this out
Leo,
right here.
I know
Ooh.
for a fact that it's
I've seen
Helly
I've
because
seen some
the
people
actor
say
said
that.
it was Helly in an interview.
The
Okay.
act
But
the
the
actress
actors
is
keep
not the
saying
I
writer.
things.
know, I know. But I
But
want to choose to believe that it was Helly because, like,
yeah,
that's what makes sense.
it would be a little disappointing if it was just Helena and that was
Yeah.
like a dark twist. Um,
Like, pure love is the story here. Like, he did it for love.
yeah, even though he has
I'm open
confused them
to
before.
both. I think it could be a totally dark, like Helena gets everything Helena wants and Helly's dead. Like, I love tragedy. I am so down for like the darkest storyline,
I
but
do
it's
like
cute.
I like the Romeo and Juliet aspect of it, in so also that they are so young and they're making
Yeah.
like a bad decision out of love, kind of, and so they just kind of
Maybe she is.
take this huge risk about
Maybe.
like if Mark S goes with Gemma and becomes his Audi, like they can take down Lumen, like no problem, like it will happen.
Yeah.
The show would
But
be over.
he's risking all of that to like go spend
A few
5, 10
minutes.
more minutes with Helly, and it's like a very like immature but like very
It's romantic.
profound.
It's pure.
Profound, yeah, pure decision.
Yeah, but now
Well,
season 3, I think we're gonna have a whole season of Gemma trying to get Mark out, and Mark's gonna be living his happy little life with
Yeah.
Helly,
Whole
and
season.
James Egan is totally gonna sponsor the whole thing.
Season 3, I think we're gonna be introduced to more Egan children because this man said he sired a lot of kids in the
They
shadows.
did set that up.
I think Rickon is an
So
Egan.
we're gonna see. She has secret siblings, half siblings out there. How many?
I think Rickon's one of them.
Maybe.
It's
Who
Rickon.
knows? They
It's
dropped that
Rickon.
line in because they're planting that seed. Like we have to see more Egans.
But what would they
So-
do? What purpose would they serve?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't know where the show goes from here. I honestly, I thought because they didn't announce a season 3 until like right after the finale, and I saw the finale as soon as it came out. So as I was watching it, I was like, this could be a series finale, and it just got more and more towards that. I was like, this could be a series finale.
No way.
This could be a series
I
finale.
would not
And
be
then the
happy with that.
ending, I was happy with it. Honestly, I would have been happy with it. I would have been perfectly fine
I'm very
with it.
sad for Gemma. I'm not happy with that.
No, I actually thought we were going to learn in this episode, did she get kidnapped? Did they trick her? What happened? Like, we
There's
still
supposed
don't
to
know
be
that.
mystery about her disappearance.
I
Yeah.
didn't really like strongly need any more answers. I thought the ending was profound enough where I was like, the whole theme of the show has been like explored in a really deep way. And I know there are some loose ends, but sometimes shows don't end the way you want them to, like The Sopranos or something, and they end like people look back 10 years later and they're like, that was a really great ending. And I was fine with it ending in this place. Now I really don't know where it's going to go because Mark S really never, or Mark's Audi really never has to go back like into any position where Mark S has consciousness, like once he's out.
That's why I think he's never going to leave. I think he's going to be in there just like Gemma.
Well,
like
they have to
trapped
figure
in
out
there.
they have to figure out a way to, keep his innie in the show, or else it's completely pointless. But I mean, once he's out of there, if he happens to be able to meet up with Gemma, or even if he doesn't, like, what's going to force him to come back into a position for his innie to be conscious again? Like he's got to be so done with Lumen at this point. But
maybe
unless
he'll
it's-
feel like he owes his innie something for getting Gemma out, and like maybe they make
What's-
a deal of like still going to the office. For that
Yeah.
I genuinely don't
all
think
right,
he's coming
every
out.
now and then I'll go to the office and I will have sex with Helena Egan.
We're making fun of
And
it,
then
but
I'll
that's
come
a
out.
way. That's a way to keep the innie and outie in the same show.
I don't think he's coming out. If
Yeah,
they
but
could kidnap Gemma for 2 years, they can keep Mark in there for 2 years. Or more.
Yeah, I don't know. They're gonna have to figure out something.
I'm glad I'm not a writer on this show because,
Yeah.
like, even Gemma getting out, like, I don't know how I would write the next couple scenes. Like, what? She just goes upstairs and I'm alive. Like, no, that's probably not what's going to happen.
Cobell and Devin are like out there in the car somewhere to prepare to like take her away.
Yeah.
So, glad I'm not a writer on this show. Great show. I was just personally very frustrated with this one. And I guess that's a good reaction. That's a sign of a good show when people get mad at it.
For the right reasons. You didn't get mad at it because it was, stupid things were done by the writers. You got mad because you didn't always agree with the characters, but they were still acting within
made sense.
their motivations. Yeah.
It made sense. Just I wanted a little more like, hey,
I just
Mark,
wanted
while we're
more-
running down the hallway, this is how I got kidnapped. Just give me the
I
information.
think that's a good way to explain
Info.
it. Like I liked it, but
Yeah.
I also wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I did too.
I figured that would be like if there's any critique of it, it's just like more info, more info. But
Mm-hmm.
I was so taken with like the love stories
Aww.
that I was like,
Cancer.
this is great. And I am a Cancer, and
What the fuck?
um,
Mother boy. Okay.
and the conflict between characters that are technically the same person. I thought this really like brought a lot of the themes to fruition in a big way.
There's things that I still feel are set up for season 3 that I would like to happen. I want to see Milk
Okay.
Chick turn against Lumen.
That'd be nice.
I see that
Fun.
bubbling up.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I don't know
Possibly-
what James is going to do.
Cobell is already-
What? Oh,
No,
Cobell, yeah.
Yeah,
Cobell
I mean,
is
I think
kind
she's
of.
already kind of rebelling against Lumen, though.
Yeah, I still don't know
But
whose
she's
Yeah.
side
still a
she's
wild
on.
card to me because she's still like so
Yeah.
obsessed with Kier. She has that shrine. She's like all about it. So
Kier, chosen
Wild
one,
card.
Kier.
I
Sings a little
wonder
song.
how Gemma. I mean, I feel like we know
Is she even gonna escape? Who knows?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, hopefully she does. Like she went through all of that, bro. You better fucking get out of that building.
Poor girl.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like apparently the most dangerous job in this universe is working security at Lumen. All those guys die.
They did.
How many characters
I-
have died in this show? Petey, the first security guy, and now Drummond.
Mm.
But
Like-
I thought once again that Mark was going to die this episode. I
Really?
Yeah, you always
genuinely
think that.
I thought he was going to die and Gemma was going to get out and see his body. And no one wants me to write this show. I would write the most sad, tragic thing.
He cannot die. This is not 2011 Game of
But
Thrones.
he just had
There's
brain
no way.
surgery and he's getting smashed into a wall. And like, I'm supposed to pretend. That's bothering me about this episode. It really is. I'm supposed to pretend like this is going to be okay. Like, that man is going to drop dead. The brain surgery was like 2 days before this.
This whole like
But
series
it's
is
like
taking
a
place in like a
sci-fi
month, right?
show, you know,
Yeah.
their technology is more advanced, so we got to just accept it in that way, maybe.
Yeah.
We had
I'm
a whole episode of Mark sleeping because of brain surgery trauma. And then
That's
now I'm
right.
supposed to forget it 3 episodes later. This is why I'm giving this episode a 3.
You
Right.
valid.
That
You
doesn't
valid.
make sense.
I think
Um,
the reason.
I guess the next season will start off with some kind of any attempt at a
Uprising.
revolution, right? Because they got the marching band,
for
they got
sure.
Dylan, they got
and Helly.
Helena and Helly and
Mark.
Mark need some time. They need to have at least some time to make this worth it. So I don't know.
The missing piece for me, though, is reintegration. It was such a big deal, and then
Yeah.
it wasn't.
And then it let us down.
Yeah. I was wondering, like, I guess it'll play a bigger role in season 3, especially with there's a conflict between Audi and any Mark. And now it may come into play where Audi Mark finds it very beneficial, considering the way any Mark might be sabotaging him in some way. But then again, it's like, why even like ever go back into Lumen or anywhere where any Mark is going to like take over?
Exactly. That's why I don't think he's going to escape. He ain't going to escape. And why did the hallway turn red? It didn't summon any kind of
sirens.
security
The
force.
emergency lights.
Sure, but like, where are the other enforcers? Like, it's flashing red as if something's going to happen, and nothing happened.
Well,
they killed the security guy.
I think something's going to happen.
The one security guy, like, there's got to be something else. Like, season 3's got to open with something else.
Yeah,
Like,
it will. I'm
Uprising.
pretty confident about that. They're running for some reason. They know something's coming.
I wish I
Or else
knew.
they'd just be walking.
He will go back to Lumen as a double agent to take Lumen down for torturing his wife for 2 years. There you go. I'm
I
writing
feel
it.
like, are they going to? Is Lumen even going to let him back in? You know,
No
like
way.
where is the point?
They
where
tried
like,
to kill
If they
him.
don't let him go, then that's going to make his sister suspicious, and then the sister's going to be there asking questions. And
suspicious.
Unless-
she'll do
What
whatever
if-
she needs to do.
She's gonna find his dead
Rickon is
wife.
an Egan.
She's already suspicious.
Yeah, but like
Wiccan's gonna
about her
do
brother
something.
now that they won't let go. Devin will be the key in this to take Lumen down
Maybe.
with Mark.
I don't know. I don't envy them because they put themselves in a situation where like the whole show is going to have to pivot in a major way. And yeah, I was not expecting it to be a series finale, but as I was watching it, I was like,
That's so
this has a this has a lot of closure to it. An
I feel
extreme amount of
so the
closure.
opposite.
not for us.
No.
Yeah. All right.
Interesting. Well,
We'll see if the actual series finale is as good as this episode.
We'll
I
see.
mean, it's hard to end shows well, so it probably won't be. You know, it's hard
Yeah.
to end shows
That's
in a
that's
good way.
exactly my thinking. I was like, it's really hard for them to do better than this.
I mean, as
We'll
long as
have
it
to
makes
find
sense,
out.
right? Because we're all aligned with that. Like nothing is
Yeah.
mind blowing, but things make sense at least. So as long as they
Yeah.
do that, if they reach that,
You guys really need to watch Attack on Titan.
no.
Attack on Titan does all of this like just a little better. Like Severance is excellent and it reminds me of Attack on Titan, but Attack on Titan, when they do these reveals, number one, they make sense, and number two, they're mind blowing.
Oh, and they're
And
mind blowing.
it changes everything. It changes everything all the time. Look, there's a naked man behind me smashing a beer into another naked man, and both of them are from Attack on Titan. It is the most brilliant piece of writing ever.
What is it? Not safe. NSFW.
It is not. Oh, I mean, they're not. They don't have genitals. This was on Cartoon Network. Look, he's got a big old beer. He's a big guy.
He's wearing a loincloth.
No, he's not wearing anything because he doesn't have balls.
Okay.
Okay,
And
Melissa, do you, before we sign off, do you have like a final thought on Innie Mark versus Outie Mark and who is more important?
Yeah, Melissa, take us home.
Did you find a better way to express that, or do you still just feel that way, that people who have been alive less are less important?
I'm older than both of you guys. Does that mean that I am better than you?
You are the most important one here.
But my argument isn't exactly because you've lived longer. I feel like he
is it though?
Person. I don't know how else to say that. Like they're both real. I don't want to say he's the real person. They're both real, but he's like the main dominant person and he's the one who made the decision, as far as we know, to do the severance thing. And, he figured out, actually, I'm not really digging this. I want my life back. Like, what is wrong with that decision that he made? That's why he's reintegrating.
Reintegration should have been a bigger part of the season than it was.
I started thinking about, like, what's the difference between, like, this and a child? Like, if you had a child and you were like, I made this decision.
Actually,
but now I want my life back.
The same thing.
If you'd like to know like the legal way that they calculate, like when a child dies in a tragic accident, they have to give you like the calculations of how much money do you get back in the lawsuit. They do it based on potential income over a lifetime. So say I'm 5 years old and I die, or I'm 15 years old and I die, the 5-year-old gets more money. And I don't remember why I brought this up, but I feel like it's relevant.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. So, because it's like the reverse of what we said Melissa believes, but she doesn't really. Which is that the older people have more value.
No, yeah.
No, the older people have less value.
That's what I'm trying to say. This show is weird, okay?
It's great. I love it, though.
Good. It's confusing. We're just messing with you.
His brain is split into two, and I feel like he doesn't want to do that anymore. He has the right to make that decision. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
If this was a sci-fi show and they were cyborgs.
It's a sci-fi show.
Okay, if this were like a hard sci-fi show with cyborgs, and inside his brain is another guy talking to him all the time, does that little guy have a right to live?
You're making different scenarios happen. I'm not going to answer these questions. I said what I said.
Yeah.
I said what I said.
Struggling with like the ethics of what's already going on. You're throwing in a third person that lives inside his head.
No. I mean, like, let's just say he's a robot and there's a guy living in his head and that guy's got a consciousness too. Does that guy deserve to live?
I'm not answering
I
questions.
Are
don't
androids
even know.
people?
I don't know. Is this from Attack on Titan?
No, Attack on Titan is about these big old guys punching each other a lot. And it's
Oh.
brilliant.
And the reveals are
insane.
mind blowing.
You don't understand. You will not see. I refuse to tell you anything about the show because the fun of the show,
Yeah, please
much
don't.
like Severance,
Yeah.
is no. I will. Now I will. There's a whole season that takes place in a completely different place, and you're like, "What is happening?" And then it all makes sense, and it's insane. It's great.
Thank you, Geo Treasures.
Hold on, let me put it on the
Be
screen.
Yeah, put it as
flexible in some
comments so
areas,
people
and some
watch it know.
areas I'm standing on.
There you go. It's fine. You don't have to change.
Follow me on Instagram, Geo Treasures.
All right. Wait.
Yes.
So I guess Age, you said you're kind of going more towards a 3 after talking about it. Melissa, you're
Just 'cause
between
I'm
3 and a
mad.
4.
I'm cheating by saying 3.5. The 0.5
That's
is because
fine. That's
as
not-
we were talking, I'm appreciating a lot of the great acting moments
Yeah.
and the aesthetics. This show is one of the most aesthetically pleasing shows ever. And there's a lot of smart writing on here because as we were talking again, I recalled the tie and the blood thing. I was like, this is so cool. So, and then they're still keeping me like interested because I have like I want to know more. So I'll give the 0.5. Thank you, Gio. Because of that.
There you go. Yeah, 3.5 makes sense.
Yeah.
For, I mean, yeah, thinking about it, you should have gone 3.5 from the start if you were stuck between 3 and 4.
I know. I should have, but I was like,
All right.
I would give it a 3.5 if Cobell didn't say the dumbest thing of the entire episode
What did
to
he
any
say?
mark, which is, I care for you. Like, why would that
Yeah, she did say
convince
that.
him? Stop.
I guess there's still more to learn with their
They
relationship.
have a thing that we don't know about still.
Can we share Chris Dang's comment?
Yes, share Chris Dang's comment. Yes,
Better than
Chris Dang.
Silo.
Better than Silo.
I mean, not even
Yeah,
close.
that's true. For anyone who has an Apple subscription, don't watch Silo. Don't. Season 1's great. Just pretend it just ends there. Don't even bother with season 2.
Frustrated.
Silo,
We've covered
whatever.
that show as well. If you want to go look at it, great. We've covered House of the Dragon. We only did season 2 of both of those shows.
No, we
This
did
is a very
Hadi 1 and 2.
Yeah,
We
one
did
too.
season 1? I don't even remember. Oh, how fun for us. I was just gonna talk shit. We only do season 2 of anything.
Of any
Severance
show.
season 2, Silo season 2.
Yeah.
Oh my
House of the
god.
Dragon.
Would that be the name of the podcast?
What
Only
is that?
season
Only
2.
season 2.
Only season 2.
Oh,
We're not coming back for anything else.
Never.
Well, we're not coming back for Silo season 3, so that's for sure.
I don't think so. I would not. But I put Melissa on the spot behind the scenes and asked her if she wants to cover Sailor Moon Cosmos with me.
And I'm like, I don't remember that movie.
You saw Eternal, and then you and I both went to a party
I remember.
and watched Cosmos together.
remember-
You don't
we
even live
went
in the
to a
same
party.
city as me.
We went to a
I
party,
went over to you.
but I don't recall the movie at all.
Oh,
see, Gio
hold
didn't even
on.
know. So go over to my channel and you can
Yeah.
watch all of the House of the Dragon because that's the one that's worth rewatching.
Where it happens.
Don't watch the Silo stuff. Watch House of the Dragon.
It's on the
I
Melissa
mean,
Berne channel.
Yes.
In
my
fairness, we had great conversations talking about Silo. Mostly because we just talked about whatever we wanted.
channel.
We talked about Wicked.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
you're being so nice, but you're talking
Yeah.
about talking about movies and other shows during
Yeah.
Silo.
Yeah.
What else were we watching? It was like Wicked, some other movies.
Some
what was
other
coming out?
I don't
It was
know.
it was
A bunch of
literally the
other
fall.
things.
Which, God bless Severance. We basically stuck to the show the whole season. That's
did.
awesome.
Big
It's
ups to
wild.
Severance. Go ahead, writers and everything else. Thank you,
Go
Gio.
Severance. I hope it
Yeah.
comes back soon. But well, you know what's not coming back soon? This podcast.
There you go.
Yep.
Unless we cover something else, it'll probably be on Melissa's channel. Because apparently here, people only want to hear about Sailor Moon instead of all these other wonderful things that I love.
Well,
I
look
love
out
so many other
for
things.
House of the
What?
Dragon season 3 and Severance season 3 on my channel.
Did
There
you
you
find out
go.
they're filming it? They're already filming season
They
3. of
are
House of the
filming
Dragon.
season 3 House of the Dragon. Yes,
Mhm,
they are.
mhm.
Yeah, but it's not coming out
Very
until next
excited.
year. So yeah,
Remember they promised us in season 2 we were going to get war? Maybe we'll get it for season 3.
maybe we will.
Perhaps. All right. Well, thank you to my guests for sticking with me for an entire season of only season 2. Gosh, guys, I think that's a great name for the podcast. Anyway, so this is Melissa Berne. She reviews movies. She just you just reviewed something that was birth control. I didn't watch the movie, but I watched your review.
Oh my God, yes, the assessment. I watched it. I did it, so you don't have to. So check out that
About birth
review.
control?
Well, it acts as
Oh,
birth
look at
control.
that, Chris Dang. I'll
Oh.
catch you on Bridgerton season 4 coverage. Yay! I love that.
And then Andres, are you going to come out with a channel? What are you going to do?
Maybe.
What are you going to tell us? What are you going to show us?
Nothing in the plans yet. I just like talking to you guys about BS.
Just lie. You have to do
Yeah.
like Outie Mark and just
I will
lie.
be covering Attack on Titan in a couple weeks.
You like it. It's good.
Period.
It's
I also
incredibly well-paced.
I also reviewed. I watched Snow White, so you don't have to. I reviewed that, so check that out.
That's
on the channel.
everybody that is putting out a Snow White review is titling it that, by the way.
I didn't title mine that, but I'm
Really?
just saying it out loud.
I've watched Snow White, so you don't have to.
It's number 1 at the box office, so people watched it, even though it did
What-
not. It did
Yeah,
not
but
open
I
with
think
a lot
that's
of
just
money.
people are not going to the movies much.
I
What's number 2?
don't remember.
The internet. Before we
Um,
conclude this podcast, let's
yeah.
find out what's happening in the movies.
And tomorrow at 10, my Locked review is dropping, so you have a lot to look forward to with me. All
There
right,
you
give me
go.
that subscribe button thing going on.
Me, on the other hand, Sailor Moon reviews. Actually, I did something today. I did an unboxing of a toy and I did it live because I don't have time to edit videos.
I wanna
So
edit.
doing it live worked out quite well for me because how do I look up box office numbers? I just typed in box office ranking. I've never looked this up before in my life.
Don't
I
know,
think that would do it.
How do you know that Snow White is number 1?
because it's Snow
Okay.
White.
Black Bag is number 2.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's the one you guys said was good.
Snow
Yeah, that's a
White
good
is
movie.
number 1 because Snow White is like a name that people know.
Yeah,
And then
and
followed
Black
by
Bag's
Captain
been out
America.
a couple weeks.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
What is
March so
Novocaine?
far,
I've never heard
March-
of this.
We talked about it.
We
It's a
did.
fun movie. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I spaced out because I didn't know what you were talking about.
No, it's okay. March has been a month, which is not making me look forward to filming my monthly wrap up because it's like this is not gonna be a
It
fun
is what
video.
it
but
is. Try to
whatever.
watch some movie. Well, if it works for your review schedule, try to watch some like classic movies on the side, and then you could be like, I
Watch
also watched
more
this.
Anime.
Yeah.
There's so many anime.
No, I watched a lot of movies in March. I feel like more than I'm used to, so I'm already kind of like dreading editing that video. But it's fine. It's fine.
I removed Khal Drogo because he's not anime, but he is
Okay,
Khal
click.
Drogo.
Click end this live.
This is what happens
very
every
to the
time
point.
we turn this off and then we just talk about movies. So thank you to everybody who's joined us so far. We had a great time. We hope you had a great time. I'm never doing this again, and I'm trapped in an eternal cycle of only talking about this 30-year-old anime called Sailor Moon, which I love, but sometimes I don't love it enough. Goodbye. And with that, we say